Good afternoon, this is HorseRacingNation.com handicapper Jared Horak, and this is our video feature race of the week for Saturday, June 20th. It's going to be a Thistledown Race 8, the $500,000 Ohio Derby for 3-year-olds, traveling 1 mile and a 16th on the main track. Post time is going to be 5:15 p.m. Eastern Time. Now, last week we got our top choice home, Noble Bird, in the Stephen Foster for our video race of the week. Let's see if we can make it 2 straight. Breaking from the inside in the Ohio Derby, Whiskey Ticket. This one has some early pressing speed. He's run 2 races and he's won 2 photo finishes for trainer Bob Baffert. So I think he's going to be close throughout. He's going to probably take too much money because of the connections. He is a threat. He's very lightly raced, obviously, with two races. He'll be in the hunt throughout, but I'm going to try to beat him in here, but I wouldn't be surprised if he ran well again. Far Right is going to break next to him, and he's going to come from well off the pace. He finished up the track in the Kentucky Derby. This is a solid late runner, though. He won the Smarty Jones. He won the Southwest. He was second in the Arkansas Derby behind American Pharoah. He puts in a good late run typically. You can kind of throw out the Kentucky Derby. It's always a tough race with that full field. And if you look at his other races, he's got a shot to sit back, make a late run. Wouldn't be surprised if he snuck into the at least trifecta and superfecta. I think if you're playing those kind of wagers, you have to use a horse like Far Right. 30 Silver Pieces will be next in line. He's going to be a longer shot in here. Another one that will probably be up on the pace. He was claimed for $25,000 at Keeneland, and now his current trainer, he's 8 for 15 at Thistledown. So he has a good local trainer. He has speed. Obviously really tested for class in here. But I wouldn't be surprised maybe if they tried to shoot to the front and go wire to wire. It would be a huge upset if he got it done. Good connections though, and he might run a little bit better than people think. Divining Rod is the next one in line. Ran a good race in the Preakness. He finished 3rd in the Preakness, and he wasn't a non-threatening 3rd. He did make a run. He was tracking the pace. He tried to go after American Pharoah, just obviously couldn't keep up with the Triple Crown winner. And then he got tired from chasing that one, and then in the late going, he ended up getting caught for 2nd. But it was a good effort, I thought, and I think that on a fast track at a shorter distance, he could run a much better race. He won the Lexington Stakes. That was a grade 3. He beat Fame and Power. Fame and Power came back and won a graded race, and then he should have won a graded race, the Matt Winn on the Churchill undercard, but he ended up having a trouble trip and he just missed finishing 2nd. So he's faced some good horses. He's been competitive. He was also 3rd in the Tampa Bay Derby behind Carpe Diem. So he seems to be on the right track. I think 1 mile and a 16th is his best distance, and he's a solid threat in this race. War Story is the next one. He also finished up the track in the Kentucky Derby. He did well in the series of Derby prep races at Fairgrounds, running behind International Star. He hit the board in all of those races, including a 2nd place finish in the Risen Star under today's rider, Kent DeSormo. Tom Amos, his trainer, 5 for 7 at Thistledown. He's putting the blinkers back on again. So there's a lot of positives here to think he can at least crack the top 3. TENCENDUR is the next one, another one that ran in the Kentucky Derby. He also ran that day. The race that makes him a threat in this race, the Wood Memorial. He ended up finishing a good 2nd to Frosted, and it was a clear 2nd as well. And that number that he earned in the Wood Memorial would probably be good enough to win this race. He's taking the blinkers off, and if he runs back to that Wood Memorial, definitely a threat to win this one. Decabrist is the next one. Looks like a long shot. I think he's 2 for 16 lifetime. Doesn't have any 2nds and 3rds. His recent form is suspect, and his speed figures are slower than these. He's going to try to get involved late, but in his current form, hard to recommend. Mr. Z, the next one in line, another one that ran the Kentucky Derby, and he also ran in the Preakness Stakes. He has early pressing speed, and if you go back to his 2-year-old speed figures, like from the Los Alamitos Derby, the Delta Jackpot, now those numbers would be good enough to certainly threaten in this race. But he's only 1 for 14 lifetime, and like I said, his best speed figures were earned as a 2-year-old. He's hit the board in some races. He typically finishes underneath. He hasn't won in a long time. He's faced a lot of good horses like American Pharoah, Dortmund, Firing Line. He's faced all of the best. He's been competitive in the past against some good horses, but like I said, I'm not going to take him on top because he hasn't won in a long time, and his best speed figures were last fall. BODHISATTVA will be the next one in line. He finished 8th in the Preakness. Maybe he didn't like the wet track. His race prior in Maryland was good, but I don't know that he's really good enough to beat this type of field. Wouldn't be shocked if he finished like 3rd or 4th, but I'm not going to tab him here. My top choice will be Divining Rod. I mentioned that he ran that good third in the Preakness, won the Lexington Stakes over Fame and Power, who's a nice horse for Bob Baffert. I think he's going to sit that right tactical trip. He reunites with his winning rider, Julian Leparoux, and if he can sit that stalking trip like he did in the Lexington, I think he gets the job done in here. This is how we're going to play this race. $40 in wagers. We're going to break it down and make a 40% win bet, which is $16 to win on Divining Rod. That'll leave us $24 for exactas, and we're going to play a $4 exacta box. I typically don't box 3 horses, but I like these 3 horses, and I think they're going to offer value because the money's going to be spread around. And the 3 horses I'm going to box in the exacta: Divining Rod, War Story, and TENCENDUR. So the total wager is the $16 win wager. The $24 in exacta boxes, that's a $4 exacta box. Total amount is $40. You can follow Horse Racing Nation and Derby Wars on Twitter. You can like us on Facebook. And if you want to play in some handicapping tournaments, go over to derbywars.com. We have a $20,000 game on Saturday, June 20th. And we have buy-in levels and games for all different kinds of players. So if you like to play head-to-head against one person, you can do that. We have 3 to 5 person games. We have bigger games like our 20K game. We offer a variety of tracks, a wide variety of tracks, 7 days a week. So go over to derbywars.com to learn more. That'll wrap up this video, and we'll be back next week with another stakes race from around the country.